Matt Jones, the co-founder of Four Pillars Gin. Matt, hi, great to see you on this morning.
Hi, Chris, thanks for having me.
Not at all. I'm very interested to understand, you've been doing quite a lot over the last few weeks. It's been a busy period with COVID-19. In fact, you were one of the first pivots that I heard about when we talk about things like hand sanitizer. Tell us a little bit about what you were doing there.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was when we were still allowed to say pivot without vomiting every time we heard the word, wasn't it? Yeah, look, it's been an interesting journey. I feel I started the year trying to think about what was Four Pillars 2.0 going to be, and we're already into sort of Four Pillars 3.0. You know, we finished 2019 with a bang. We turned 6 years old as a business, and just on that 6-year mark, we won the award for being the world's leading gin producer from the International Wine and Spirits Competition in London, very much the Academy Awards of Gin. And I guess we did that on the back of 6 years of just relentless gin innovation, this real sense of specialism and experimentation to really push how far gin can go, and not to allow creativity to go broad, but instead to use that constraint of only looking at gin to really then go deep into where gin flavor could go, what we could make from the byproducts of gin. And as a result, I think we were making, 6 years in, the most exciting range of gins on the planet. And those gins in turn allowed you to make really the most exciting range of gin drinks. And so as a consequence of that, our marketing theory was very much about how do you get that liquid on lips, how do you get people at home, but critically people in events, people in our distillery door in Healesville, and people in bars and great bartenders playing with that liquid. So of course, when the coronavirus popped its head up in February, you started to see very quickly an enormous disruption, not just to our business, but to our whole way of going to market and introducing more people to that liquid. So yeah, we needed to adapt pretty quick. And I guess the central pivot that you're talking about there was spotting the need to make hand sanitizer. And for us, sort of connecting this incredible and urgent need for a product that we had a unique ability to scale and make, and connect that with the fact that we had around 25 people who should have been getting up and going to work in our distillery door in our hospitality venue, who had essentially been sort of made unnecessary overnight, and our ability to actually relocate them into that very rapid scaling and delivery of sanitizer. So that was a great temporary pivot, but certainly it's not the long-term business plan.
Yeah. And I was chatting with you, Matt, as you were going through that pivot and the chaos and that was ensuing as a result of that. One of the things that I was amazed at was just how quickly you were able to do this thing that we call pivoting, which, as you say, is one of the most overused words of 2020. Going forwards, is hand sanitizer a viable and long-term business option and something that you're going to be focusing on, or are you going to be pulling back and just going back to your core, which is gin?
Look, I mean, a couple of things on that. I mean, I think the first is one of the reasons we were able to pivot so quickly is that we stayed very much on purpose. So we'd always had this sort of track record of making things from the byproduct of making gin. So we did that here. We actually used the heads and tails of our distillations, the highly alcoholic bits that get thrown away and don't go into the gin bottle. We actually use that as the basis for the sanitizer. Does that give us a long-term ability to keep making it? Yes. Should we? I think we'll see. I'm very keen that as a very purely focused gin brand, that remains our heart and soul. If there is a need for it in the world and we can make a quality product and we can make it to a great standard and we can make it efficiently, perhaps we'll keep doing it. But it's certainly not going to distract us from the gin business that we are thrilled to be getting back to.
One of the things, Matt, that I've known you for quite a few years. We've met in various parts of the world at different events that we've been both speaking at. One of the things that I'm always passionate about when I'm talking to customers, I'm talking to people, is this fusion of product, experience, and how those two things come together. And you've just touched on that just a moment ago, on how you see gin as part of the events industry and how you've been stimulating it there. In the last few days, have been meeting with brands like Hames Paint out in Ballarat to talk about how they see experiences beyond their product. And even they feel responsible for architecting and curating and leading consumers into being able to have these experiences beyond just the product. How do you, as the brand director for 4Pillars, see that as a crucial part for your brand going ahead into the future as well?
In at least two ways, and probably lots more if I think about it. I think the first is the use of experiences to introduce people to product and introduce people to brand. I think we are now in a cluttered landscape where it's not about the story you tell as a business, it's about the story you do. It's about the story you deliver through experience. The storytelling that matters, that moves the needle for brands today, is the stories that other people tell on our behalf. And the way we inspire them to tell those stories is we deliver them experiences that actually embody those stories. So I think that's one way. And we're obviously having to scramble in real time to figure out, well, what balance of the experiences that we have been providing for the last 6 years will still be viable in this new normal we're heading into. And we're betting pretty hard that a lot of that is going to come back. In fact, we just announced yesterday the opening of our new brand experience, the 4Pillars Laboratory in Surrey Hills, which is going to open in 2 weeks' time. So we still believe that experiences will be one of the key ways we'll introduce people to the brand. But the other way that it's so important is to curate or to assist with the experience that people have at home, in a bar, to recognize that our gin is only as good as the drink that people make with it.
Yep.
It's only as good as the confidence they have to share that drink and share that story with other people. So we remain very focused on both digital and analog methods. So we've been printing beautiful cocktail books for years to help people make better drinks at home, but we're also looking at the moment at delivering more virtual tasting experiences so we can support people in home with those experiences. So I think that experiences are important, at least in both those ways, and probably a lot more as well.
I was chatting with another massive brand, family brand in your sector, the Brown Brothers, just this morning. We've got some very exciting things planned ahead in the next few weeks with some content that we're doing with them. And they're talking exactly the same language. They're saying the same things. It's all around how do you bring virtual experiences into the mix now and keep your brand connected through? How do you then create longevity of this? And they don't even see this as just being a one-off thing for COVID that they're going to do. They see this as a new long-term strategy, a core part of their brand. I'm assuming the same for you guys?
Look, I think to an extent, I think, and I'm not saying anything original here, I think we have seen a 5-year journey that we would have got on culturally accelerated in a couple of months. I don't see any of us going back to conference calls when we've all now experienced the power of the video conference and that visual connection. I think we have normalized experience delivery through the screen. That said, I think people are going to be desperate to get back into the real world and the real physical bricks and mortar experience economy soon, as it becomes safe, as it becomes viable. I think people are going to want to get out into that world. And I think the challenge is going to be for that world of experience delivery and that world of hospitality that's sort of your topic today, to adapt to that new normal, to recognize what the demands are. But I do think that the need, the customer demand will be there. It's just the expectations are going to shift slightly, and our focus perhaps will need to shift slightly.
And I'm interested there in that new normal that we're going to see as one of the most iconic brands in your sector here in Australia and going through some really crazy growth. How do you see the future of hospitality here, Matt, in Australia? What do we see that fundamentally has got to start changing, and where are some opportunity areas?
Look, I'm not an expert in the operational side of hospitality, but you don't have to be an expert to know that the economics have been tough for a while. And hospitality is a hard gig, and I've got incredible respect for great operators. I'm wearing my 4Pillars Esplanade t-shirt today, tribute to the wonderful Espy Hotel in St Kilda, who we've partnered with, part of the Sandhill Road Group, who are some of the best hospitality operators down in Melbourne. It's a tough gig, and we're hugely supportive of it. In terms of the challenges that hospitality faces, for me, there's some challenges that have been emerging for a while. You know, I've had a lot of conversations with people over the last couple of years about how the real enemies of our nightlife sector are the combination of the sofa, Netflix, and Uber Eats. That ability to have a great on-demand experience at home. It means that the bar for going out has got higher.
Yeah.
We are a naturally apathetic species. And when you add in the quality of gin and tonic that Four Pillars allows you to make at home, or a bloody Shiraz and lemon, then the seductive power of being at home is even greater. So how does hospitality have to respond? It has to be awesome. It has to respond with with an experience that delivers people joy, an experience that delivers people brilliance in every area. We can't make people work hard for us. So I think hospitality, and my co-founder, Stuart Gregor, would be very red hot on this. We can't punish people for coming out and say, well, you know, you're going to come here and you're privileged to sit at this. So take the new Four Pillars Laboratory. We want to make some really crazy experimental drinks. But if they aren't delicious, and if the music isn't fantastic, and if our hospitality and our welcome isn't first rate, then the drink and its creativity is not going to be enough. Because we need to give people value at every part of that experience. And I think that's going to be the key. I think we're going to need to make people feel taken care of and safe in the short to medium term. But more broadly, we just need to deliver extraordinary experiences, because more than ever, the compellingness of what I can have at home. I mean, I was here on Friday night. We did an Airbnb virtual experience with the kids, and we had an hour-and-a-half magic show, and it was extraordinary. You know, we wired up Zoom to the big TV, and the kids had 90 minutes of magic from a guy in London. It was absolutely fantastic. We're learning more and more what a good time we can have at home, which means when we do want to go out, we're going to expect just incredible experiences. And I think that's going to be the challenge for hospitality, is going to be really placing that customer experience and the excellence of every element, the hospitality, fun, the energy, has got to be front and center.
And this is spot on, Matt. I mean, again, you and I have been at events and cross stage before. We've talked for so many years in other sectors around good is no longer good enough. You've got to lift the bar. You've got to create extraordinary experiences every time. And I think the challenge now for the hospitality sector is to step out of comfort zone, to look, what does that extraordinary look like? And Australia, here's the thing. I mean, we're known so well for creating incredible experiences within the venues. When you go into a restaurant, you have these magical experiences. You're taken to another place. It's incredible. But how do we do that now, going outside of the comfort zone of the institution that we're in? Because we know that's good. The next challenge is lift the bar outside, and how do we do that authentically? Matt, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to coming and seeing when we can travel a little bit more easily up to your new facility up in Sydney that I think you launched yesterday.
Well, we've announced we're launching yesterday. We're launching just in time for World Gin Day, Friday the 12th. We're going to be opening up for bookings. It's going to be entirely booked out, so we can really take care of people. So if anyone wants to get a go at booking a seat, just jump onto our database on our website and you can do that. And there's a seat with your name on, Chris, when you make it up.
Thank you. I look forward to a massive supporter of your Four Pillars and everything you're doing. Thanks very much, Matt.